Welcome to Xorro-Q. In this video, you will learn how to use Xorro-Q's Quick Launch Toolbar to instantly collect feedback from any group. Once you start the Quick Launch Toolbar, you'll choose which group you're working with and how the participants will identify themselves. From there, it's really easy to ask instant questions at any time and to work with the responses. Let's get started. To launch Xorro-Q's Quick Launch Toolbar, just run the Xorro-Q executable file. Ideally, this will be set up as a shortcut on your desktop or in your Windows taskbar. Just find the face of Zorro. Now, whichever way you choose to launch Xorro-Q, you're going to be asked to log in as the facilitator. Use the login details provided by your Zorro administrator. These login details give you access to your participant groups or classes and to all activities you've prepared and run with these. You might choose to check the Save Credentials box at the foot of the form so you can launch Xorro-Q even faster in the future. This will bring you to a form where you can choose any groups or classes of participants if you've already prepared these. The second choice you can make on the right of this form is to enforce how your participants will identify themselves. If you've already set up your students and groups, then you can require your students to enter an ID when they first enter the session. Otherwise, you might be comfortable with students just entering a nickname or alias. For the purposes of this demonstration, I'm not going to use a pre-selected group, and I'm going to use the default alias student access. Xorro-Q's Quick Launch Toolbar now appears. Notice how you can collapse this toolbar to the familiar Zorro image anytime you want, so as to minimize the clutter on your display. Just double-click the Zorro icon again in order to expand the toolbar back out. Let's familiarize ourselves with Zorro's Quick Launch Toolbar. The Quick Launch Toolbar is unique in enabling facilitators to ask instant questions and receive responses from the audience right to their desktops without having to have a browser open. An instant or verbal question is one in which you have not pre-prepared any question text to send to the student devices. The participants do hear the question, or maybe they read it off a pre-prepared PowerPoint slideshow. You might even just write the question up on a whiteboard. Zorro's Quick Launch Toolbar makes it instant and easy to ask for and collect your audience's response to any question, anytime. The first 4 buttons from the left allow you to ask your participants to choose from multiple choice options. The 5th button asks your participants to send text responses to you. Let's ask a question. I happen to be using a whiteboarding program called 2Touch Workbook. However, you can use any software you want, or just write the question up on a conventional whiteboard. Do you think that it's okay to use animals in medical research if this helps people? To start receiving responses from your audience, just push the text button. Let's now take a moment to look at the response form. Your participants can access the session by scanning the QR code or just opening a browser and entering the URL shown. This URL, and of course the QR code, are unique for you as a facilitator. This means that all sessions you run will use the same URL. Your participants might choose to bookmark the URL for the various facilitators that they work with. You can copy the QR code and put this into emails or print it as a poster on the wall. You can also choose to hide the QR code to give you more space on this form in the session. Notice the participation dashboard. As your participants enter this session, the counter on the left will rise. As they respond, the counter on the right rises. If you click the Participants button in the middle, a separate toolbar appears showing the names of the participants and whether or not they've submitted any responses to your question. This helps you to apply extra focus to those people not participating. By default, results from the question remain hidden until you choose to show them. The participants' names can be hidden as well if you prefer not to identify the contributors to the group. Now that you've thoroughly explored the Xorro-Q Quick Launch Toolbar, let's think about the answers. You can click on any submission from the audience and just drag and drop this to any text-ready Windows software environment. In my case, I'm dragging and dropping these responses onto my 2Touch Workbook whiteboarding program. However, you might choose, for example, to use a different whiteboarding solution or to drop the responses into Excel or Word or PowerPoint. I've now selected a few of the participants' responses. Each of the responses contains some useful insights worth exploring more deeply with the group. The Quick Launch Toolbar makes it easy to instantly gauge feedback on each point. For example, I might associate a letter with each idea. Let's now instantly ask the group to vote on which of the responses they feel best expresses their views. That's a very quick but complete outline of how the Xorro-Q Quick Launch Toolbar enables you to instantly involve your audience. But wait, there's a lot more. The QF button on the Quick Launch Toolbar sends you to your very own facilitator webpage on Xorro's QF web server. You'll use Xorro's QF site to administer your groups and participants, to review all the data from your past activities, and to create activities using pre-prepared questions. The QF site also allows you to create and run activities for participants to access in their own time and at their own pace. But all of that's for later. Right now, we're going to go back to our desktop and end the current activity by pressing Exit on Xorro-Q's Quick Launch Toolbar. You'll be given the option to download onto your computer all of the data from the activity you've just run. If you choose Save, you'll need to tell Xorro-Q where to put the data file. Let's look at that data file. Xorro-Q's produced for you a zip folder containing 4 files. 2 of these are CSV files, which you can open in Excel and which provide 2 different arrangements of your session data. The other 2 are HTML files which are intended for view access only through a browser. That completes your tour of Xorro-Q's Quick Launch Toolbar. Remember to visit the QF site using the same login details in order to set up your groups of participants. We hope you enjoy using Xorro-Q as much as we've enjoyed developing it. Please send us your feedback and improvement suggestions to zorro-q@2touch.com. zorro-q@twotouch.com.